Israel and Iran, two giants locked in a rivalry that spans decades, shaping alliances, fueling tensions, and pushing the Middle East closer to the edge. But what if this cold conflict suddenly sparks into a full-scale confrontation? Today, we break down the roots, risks, power, and possible outcomes of a clash that could reshape global politics forever. Stay tuned. This is Israel vs. Iran, the clash that could shake the Middle East. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. And today's topic is one of the most talked about flashpoints in global politics, the escalating rivalry between Israel and Iran. For decades, both nations have competed across military, intelligence, and geopolitical fronts, shaping the entire Middle Eastern landscape. Israel views Iran as the primary threat to its national security, especially due to Tehran's nuclear ambitions and its support for armed groups across the region. On the other side, Iran sees Israel as an extension of Western influence, determined to limit its power and regional aspirations. This ongoing confrontation affects neighboring countries, global oil routes, and the delicate balance of power among major world players. In this episode, we will break down how this rivalry formed, why it keeps intensifying, and what could happen if tensions escalate. Get ready for a deep, structured breakdown in 10 detailed sections. The roots of the Israel-Iran rivalry stretch far deeper than many realize. Before the 1979 Iranian Revolution, the two countries were not enemies at all. In fact, they maintained covert cooperation, shared intelligence, and even aligned strategically due to mutual concerns over Arab nationalism. However, everything changed after Iran transformed into an Islamic republic. With a new ideological direction, Iran began portraying Israel as a major adversary, symbolizing resistance against Western alliances. This shift triggered a diplomatic freeze and a long era of indirect confrontation. Over the decades, both sides built narratives around each other that fuel ongoing tensions. Israel accuses Iran of trying to surround it through proxies in Lebanon, Syria, and Gaza, while Iran claims Israel destabilizes the region with military actions and Western-backed policies. Understanding these historical shifts is essential for analyzing today's dangerous dynamics between the two nations. One of the central drivers of this conflict is Iran's nuclear program and Israel's determination to stop it. Iran insists its nuclear activities are for peaceful energy production and scientific research. However, Israel and many Western nations argue that Tehran aims to develop nuclear weapons capability, something that could dramatically shift the balance of power in the Middle East. Israel maintains a clear red line. It will not allow Iran to acquire a nuclear weapon under any circumstances. This stance has led to covert cyber operations, sabotage missions, and targeted strikes on nuclear facilities and scientists. Meanwhile, Iran continues to expand its uranium enrichment and missile development, signaling its strategic resilience. This nuclear tug of war elevates global concern, as any miscalculation could trigger wider conflict. Understanding this nuclear dimension is vital for grasping why both countries remain deeply entrenched in this dangerous rivalry. Proxy warfare is another critical layer of the Israel-Iran struggle. Instead of engaging in direct military conflict, Iran supports various non-state groups across the region to bolster its strategic influence. These include Hezbollah in Lebanon, militant factions in Syria, and different groups in Iraq and Yemen. Through these alliances, Iran increases pressure on Israel, creating multiple fronts that could be activated during times of conflict. Israel, in response, frequently conducts airstrikes on Iranian supply lines, bases, and weapons shipments across Syria. This indirect warfare creates a constant cycle of tension where neither side officially declares war, yet both engage in continuous strategic maneuvers. The involvement of these groups means any escalation between Israel and Iran potentially pulls entire regions into conflict. The proxy dynamic adds complexity, making peace negotiations more difficult and raising the stakes if a direct confrontation ever occurs. Syria has become one of the most important battlegrounds for the Israel-Iran rivalry. After the Syrian civil war erupted, Iran moved rapidly to support Bashar al-Assad, sending advisors, weapons, and financial assistance. This created an opportunity for Tehran to establish a stronger regional presence, including military infrastructure close to Israel's borders. Israel views this expansion as a direct threat, prompting hundreds of airstrikes targeting Iranian forces and supply routes. These operations often occur without acknowledgement but are widely reported by regional media. Iran, meanwhile, uses Syria as a corridor to transport weapons to Hezbollah in Lebanon, enhancing its deterrence capabilities. The Syrian arena acts as a strategic chessboard where both sides test limits and capabilities. The more entrenched Iran becomes, the more aggressively Israel responds. This ongoing shadow conflict keeps Syria unstable and risks drawing the region toward a larger confrontation. Lebanon plays a major role in this regional tension due to the influence of Hezbollah, Iran's most powerful proxy. Hezbollah possesses tens of thousands of rockets and missiles, many capable of reaching deep inside Israeli territory. Israel identifies the group as one of its most dangerous adversaries. Iran's support for Hezbollah is central to its regional strategy, offering Tehran a front line against Israel without engaging directly. Whenever tensions rise between Israel and Iran, Lebanon becomes an immediate hotspot. Border clashes, drone incidents, and rocket fire frequently spark fears of a new war. Israel's military planners constantly analyze Hezbollah's growing arsenal and training upgrades, while Iran strengthens the group to deter Israeli attacks on its nuclear program. Any large-scale conflict involving Hezbollah could quickly escalate into a broader Israel-Iran confrontation, making Lebanon a critical factor in understanding this rivalry. Another dimension of the Israel-Iran rivalry lies in covert operations and intelligence battles. Both nations possess highly capable intelligence agencies known for conducting operations far beyond their borders. Israel's Mossad is frequently linked to cyber attacks, sabotage missions, and high-risk extractions targeting Iranian nuclear facilities and personnel. Iran, through its intelligence networks, has responded with cyber operations of its own, probing Israeli infrastructure, financial systems, and government networks. These shadow operations often remain unclaimed, yet their effects reverberate globally. The covert battlefield allows both sides to inflict damage without officially entering open war, but it also carries the risk of miscalculation. A single operation gone wrong could trigger retaliation that spirals into a major conflict. This intelligence war showcases how modern conflicts extend into cyberspace, espionage, and strategic disruption rather than traditional battlefield engagements. Global powers significantly influence the Israel-Iran dynamic. The United States remains Israel's strongest ally, providing military support, intelligence cooperation, and diplomatic backing. Iran, meanwhile, maintains strategic ties with nations like Russia and China to counter Western influence. These global alignments shape decisions on sanctions, military operations, and diplomatic pressure. When the U.S. tightens restrictions on Iran's economy, Tehran often responds by showcasing military strength or expanding nuclear activities. Russia's involvement in Syria has also strengthened Iran's regional presence. The broader geopolitical landscape means any Israel-Iran escalation affects energy markets, global alliances, and international security. Major powers prefer avoiding direct confrontation in the region, but their competing interests often intensify tensions instead of easing them. Understanding these global relationships helps explain why the conflict continues to simmer and why diplomatic solutions remain challenging. A full-scale conflict between Israel and Iran would have enormous consequences for the Middle East and the world. Both nations possess advanced military capabilities, extensive alliances, and influence over key regional pathways. A war could disrupt oil shipping routes, destabilize neighboring countries, and spark widespread humanitarian crises. Hezbollah, militias in Iraq, and other groups could activate, creating multiple fronts against Israel. In response, Israel might conduct large-scale strikes across Iran, targeting military and nuclear infrastructure. Such a scenario would prompt global intervention affecting international markets and political systems. The escalation risk remains high because the rivalry touches many sensitive areas: ideology, security, regional dominance, and national pride. While both sides often avoid direct confrontation, the constant cycle of provocations increases the chance of miscalculations. The world watches closely because even a small spark could ignite a much larger fire. Despite the rising tensions, diplomacy remains the most effective way to prevent a catastrophic conflict. International mediators, regional stakeholders, and global powers continue pushing for negotiations focused on reducing nuclear risks, limiting regional militancy, and establishing pathways for communication. Direct dialogue between Israel and Iran is extremely rare, but indirect channels through global allies and organizations sometimes help lower tensions. Economic incentives, security guarantees, and regional cooperation frameworks could offer potential solutions, although progress is slow and fragile. The biggest challenge is the deep mistrust that has built up over decades, shaping public narratives and strategic decisions. Still, the global community understands that preventing escalation is essential for regional stability. Ending the cycle of confrontation requires long-term commitment, credible agreements, and balanced diplomacy. Without these efforts, the region remains vulnerable to sudden shocks that could reshape the entire geopolitical landscape. If you found this breakdown insightful, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this rivalry will escalate or cool down? Let's discuss!